HBCU Sports. Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot.
Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
The
A pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show, broadcast live right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown, joined as a special guest co-host for hour number one, Charles Edmonds of the Alcorn State Radio Network. Charles, good morning to you. How you doing?
Carlos, good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine. Another Saturday. The year is moving along pretty quickly. Before you know it, it'll be the summertime, and then it'll be fall season. But hey, just thankful to be able to host another Carlos Brown show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Here's what's coming up. I simply call it the guest menu. Of course, Charles Edmonds is with me right now. Also, guest will be Coach Neil Weiner. He's a athletic director, head football coach at the Dunham High School in Baton Rouge. I guess you can call it Dunham School. He'll join me in hour number one. Then following Coach Weiner will be Coach Van Pettaway. We'll talk some Southwestern Athletic Conference basketball with Coach Pettaway, get his thoughts on everything that's going on in the conference as the conference race continues to move along at a rapid pace. You know, Charles, in a little bit, it'll be SWAC basketball tournament time, and then it'll be March Madness.
Absolutely. You know, we only have 7 more games left in the conference season, and then it's the tournament in Birmingham. So you just remember the start of the season like it was yesterday, and you're already more than halfway through, and the race is really getting pretty tight. You've got one team on the men's side, a game ahead at Southern University. Then you got 4 other teams right behind them, a game back. And then you got a team like Alabama State that kind of threw a little wrench into the plans with their win over Grambling the other day, last week, as a matter of fact. So I think down the stretch, I think you're going to see some upsets. And there's a race at the top, and there's also a race for that 8th slot trying to get in the tournament. Jackson State, as well as a couple other teams, Bethune. So this is kind of what we expected. This is not a surprise. And like I said a few weeks ago, it's going to take a few weeks before teams kind of got their legs, and you're kind of seeing that now.
And I'll tell you something else. Going on a losing streak anytime going forward could be very deadly for a team, because in a few minutes we'll talk about Southern University. Hey, hats off to Alabama State. They came in and knocked off Southern University women's team at home. That's something you really can't afford to have. And so going forward, and then, of course, Southern, both women and men are doing the Texas two-step. I guess I'm always concerned, every game. So you've got to come to play and every Saturday and Monday, and you can't afford, it's tough on the road, but losing at home, you just don't expect that. But we're going to come back and talk more about Southern's women basketball, Southern's men, SWAC basketball. I told you Coach Van Pettaway will join us. And then last but not least, he's the new defensive coordinator at Southern University. Coach Henry Miller will join us to wrap up the guest list here, or the guest menu on the Coles Brown Show. Just a few news and notes. Of course, Southern University basketball, the men 2-0 on their home segment. The women 1-1. Also, Charles, we're going to talk some SWAC baseball predictions. They are out as well. And then Jackson State and Tennessee State will play in the Southern Heritage Classic one final time. And I guess from a legal standpoint, I'm thinking something happened along those lines for Jackson State to say, wait a minute, we've got to play at least one more time. But I think the word I'm looking for is maybe a compromise. That's what happened. And you'll look and see who's going to take the place of Jackson State. I said last week I think it would be nice for Alcorn State, to play in the Southern Heritage Classic. I had some individuals talk about after the show. Could Southern possibly play in there? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But Charles, it's one of those things where they've played for such a long time. Jackson State feels that, hey, from a financial standpoint, they can do better. And then, of course, with the games they have coming up in Birmingham against Southern University for 2 straight years, and then, they were supposed to play University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. So I guess they're looking to maximize and get as much financial money as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just I'm kind of like a lot of fans. You see a lot of these different Facebook posts about the game. What will it happen? How's it going to turn out? Whatever. For me, of course, I do all corn games, but I'm also a graduate of a SWAC school, so I support all these teams. I support the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and what's ever in the best interest of those schools, I'm with it. Did the Tennessee State thing catch me by surprise? It did. Clearly, Jackson State's trying to maximize their value, and Coach Sanders said this from day one. What we've been getting in the past is not the standard anymore. We're upping our game in terms of what we feel like is a viable guarantee because of our fan base. We bring a lot of fans. We travel well, all that stuff. So I just hope that, after this year, obviously the game's going to be in Memphis this year, and then next year, we'll see how that works. I think we can only deal with it 1 year at a time. I just hope that whatever happens, it works out for everybody involved. And I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I just hope it works out because it's a financial risk reward. At the end of the day, we all take risk and we hope for the reward. And obviously, after this year, Jackson State feels like, playing in Birmingham in the SWAC Classic is more viable financially for them. So we'll see how that turns out. I mean, I'm just waiting and seeing how that happens. But I didn't expect the double back. I know there's contractual obligations you have to stick with, and there could have been litigation perhaps if it was going in the way it was going this time last week. But clearly, I think the right people saw the right method. Let's play the game this year, and let's see where it goes from there. And that's kind of where I am with it. We've been talking ad nauseum about it on social media for the last 2 weeks, and now the game's back in Memphis, and let's see what happens.
The word compromise. You think that was a word that was used when they decided to say, "Hey, we're going to play it one more time," and then there'll probably still some litigation going on, or maybe they've settled it. But we'll see. But I want to say good morning to everyone. Greg says good morning. Also, Chuck Hunt. Good morning. He says the Memphis promoter Fred Jones became Suge Knight. Oh, wow. Good morning, Keith. VI Love, Jackson State alum, and Darren Gaines watching. Appreciate it. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, everyone. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Reverend Ike. I think a lot of people remember Reverend Ike. The good book, I believe, says the love of money is the root of all evil. But Reverend Ike, who was a minister who believed in financial blessings, said the lack of money is the root of all evil. So with that being said, Charles, it comes down to what's best. What's best? Jackson State has decided, hey, this is no longer viable for us, and we're going to be out of it. We're going to be out of it. So we'll continue to monitor it, Charles, and kind of see what happens as far as the future of the Southern Heritage Classic. Who will be in that football game? Jamar Scott, good morning. Coles Brown Show and Charles Edmonds. Good morning, Jamar. Appreciate you
Morning.
tuning in. Charles, swag baseball prediction, order finish. And, we kind of had a discussion. We had text discussions. We had a group text discussion with Coach Carlos James. And it's nothing new. The media does not vote in these preseason predictions. And I know it's for to get conversation going. And of course, the media doesn't participate. All right. So, with that being said, do you think that will ever change? And for the record, it's coaches and SID, Sports Information Directors, right?
Yes.
So, do you think it will? Do you think it will change where members of the media, not all media, but members of the media, will they get a vote?
I'm gonna say possibly. If I know I'm
Possibly?
riding the fence with this, possibly. I think under the old guard with some of the more established coaches in this league, I think the answer was no. I do know that there was a lead cheerleader for the media not being a part of the process. I'm not going to mention the name, but I'm aware of who that is. I just think that with the
Is he in the
changing in
East or the
coaching, right?
West?
I'm not gonna say.
Oh, come on, Charles. Come on.
I'd rather just. No, I'm
A
not gonna
famous guy
say.
is a famous coach. Charles
I'm
says
not
he's
gonna
not
say.
going to
I'll
say.
just I'll just leave it where I'll just leave it right there. But there
But
is
if I
one
find out, I'm going to say it.
there's one coach in particular that is not
Okay.
that is absolutely not in favor of members of the media voting. And the way it works is the selection of the all conference team is determined first of all by the coaches. It starts there. So the coaches make a recommendation and it goes to the ADs. And my guess is that that's as far as it goes. Once the ADs vote whichever way the coaches want it, I don't think it goes all the way up the flagpole to the presidents and chancellors. I think it kind of stops there because of that type of issue. I do think with the changing in coaches, I do think there's a possibility. But if I were to take a guess, I would say right now, no. And I do think there needs to be more of a discussion about why we're not a part of the process and why we need to be a part of the process. Because I think there are members of the media that will do it justice, will do the ballot justice, and I think that will help quell a lot of the disparity and why some players should be on the ballot based on the numbers and stats and that type of thing. So I think once the coaches, these new crop of coaches, you got a new coach at Alcorn, you got a new coach at A&M relatively. You're going to have a new coach at Grambling. Coach Coop is now working with the Yankee organization. So I do think you have a new crop of coaches and the attitude might change a bit. But when we had, the late Willie Rat McGowans of the world and the Mike Robbs of the world, you had Omar Johnson, you had the Cadors, there was a good lockstep in members of the media not being a part of the process. I hope that changes because I do think we need to have a good ballot. I think someone like myself who watches most of these conference games can give a fair ballot. Even though I do all Alcorn's games, you can't vote for your own players. So I do think you need to have a swath of different types of folks, whether it's in the media, SIDs, coaches, to bounce things off each other to have a good ballot. Will it happen anytime soon? I don't think so, but I do think we need to have more of a conversation. And it's unfortunate because every sport you're going to have players that are probably going to get left out that should be, and that's a conversation that needs to be had. But I do think by having members of the media involved, I think they're on a different plane of the canyon. They're kind of higher up in terms of watching the whole picture, and I think they can probably give you a better ballot. But I just think the coaches right now, I still think there's this attitude, let's just let the season vote. But I do think we need to have a conversation about it, whether it's at the SWAC meetings or at football media day or when a lot of these media members are present, where we can have a conversation about it, because I do think it needs to happen.
Well, I think, and I agree with you. Don't hold your breath anytime soon, but maybe you can start lobbying. That's another interesting word. With some of the people of influence. And Charles, we know we probably have one coach that would not have a problem with the media having a vote, and we would have to see how he would vote if it ever came up to the situation where the media is invited to participate, to have a vote, and that would be Coach Carlos James. But that's just one baseball coach. But it's interesting. Continuing with baseball, we'll start with the East, get a timeout in, and then we'll come back to the Western division. In the SWAC Eastern Division, with 8 first place votes, 89 points overall. Jackson State predicted order finish number 1. Alabama State number 2 with 88 points and 4 first place votes. Number 3, Florida A&M, 67 votes, 2 first place votes. Bethune-Cookman coming in at 4th, 57 points. Alabama A&M, 55 points and 4 first place votes. Wow, really interesting. And Mississippi Valley State with 22 points. So no surprise there. Jackson State 1, Alabama State 2, FAMU 3, Bethune-Cookman 4, Mississippi Valley State brings up the rear, and Alabama A&M. Charles, what do you think?
No surprise. Jackson State did everything last year except hoist that trophy. They, it got to the last game of the half of the season in postseason and couldn't finish the deal. But they're still a really good team. They still have a lot of their pieces coming back. And if you just look at that Eastern Division, I mean, Jackson State to me just has more firepower. Bama State is a team that likes to slow you down in terms of arms and pitching. But Jackson State's a team that can knock the cover off the ball. So Jackson State 1, I agree with that. Alabama State 2. And I'm interested to see, Carlos, the rest of the teams in that division. Valley's got a new coach. We're going to be looking at Bethune and FAMU for the first time in terms of how they do things in terms of baseball. I would say that Bethune-Cookman, I'd give them a little bit of an edge because they have a more successful history when they were in the MEAC in terms of baseball. You got Alcorn's former coach, Brett Richardson, back at FAMU working on that staff. So I'm sure he'll be very familiar with the East. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this Eastern Division goes. We know Jackson and Bama State, but I'm looking to see who's going to be those mid-tier teams as some of those teams try to scramble and make the tournament.
Do you think FAMU makes a serious push to win the East?
No, I don't see it. I mean, I might be wrong, but I just think right now the cream of the crop in the East is Jackson State and Alabama State. Although we might get a shock, Carlos. I mean, look at SWAC basketball. Who would have thought FAMU would be where they are right now? I mean, because we all knew who those top tier teams were, and who would have thought Alcorn would be up there. So if FAMU would make a push in baseball, and baseball is such an unknown, Carlos. I mean, you lose an arm, you lose a bat, you got the grind of the season, you got these midweek games. Baseball is the ultimate unknown to me. You just don't know how this thing's going to go because you could be a pitcher away, you lose your key guy, a bad weekend series, a couple of injuries, and the season changes on a dime. You got over 50 games in baseball. It's a long grind, cold weather, warm weather on the back end. So not too much would surprise me in SWAC baseball, but with FAMU, I would say they may be a year or so away. I would put more stock in Bethune-Cookman right now because of their history and what they've done with that baseball program. They traditionally, when they were in the MEAC, they were winning championships when Melendez was there. I know it was a little bit of a slack off when he left to go to Bama State.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Bethune is still a pretty good team.
As I said before, predicted order finish, it does what it's supposed to do. Gather conversation about who's going to do what, but we all know it's going to be what played on the field. So Jackson State 1, pretty good order finish. Alabama State 2, FAMU 3, Bethune-Cookman 4, 5, Alabama A&M, and 6, Mississippi Valley State. Going to take a timeout. When I come back, we'll take a look at the Western Division, which in years past has been the Wild Wild West. You know, I'll say this, Charles. Prairie View A&M surprised me. I'll just say, for my opinion, last year. And I think they have an opportunity to be 1 or 2. I'm sure some will disagree with that, but we'll give you the predicted order of finish in the Western Division after this quick timeout. You're watching the Coles Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be right back.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Charles, that short clip of the human jukebox was dedicated to Avis Heath, who's watching. Avis Heath, the Jackson State alumni fan. Oh, don't get me started. But good morning, Varick, Avis Heath, Chuck Hunt, Varick Williams, Ralph Holly, Michael Cavalier, good morning. G. Boom Holly, good morning. Terrence Neal, good morning. And Darren Gaines. Also, we're talking SWAC baseball, and Varick, still much love. Varick says he disagrees with me about the Western Division, I guess, in Prairie View. Charles, and I mean, last year, I didn't think they were going to do as well. And I understand that's last year. Okay, but I just think they're still a team to watch in the Western Division. But if I'm wrong, Varick, if I'm wrong, Charles, we'll see at the end of the season. I'll have to come back and eat crow. I've done it before, and I'll do it again perhaps in the future. But Charles, as I pull up the iPad here, And we'll get to the Western Division in a second.
Well,
But what do you
I
think,
will
Charles,
say
about
this while
Prairie
you pull
View?
that up, Carlos. Antoine Riggins, the head coach at Prairie View, is a guy that's been on skates. You know, a lot of people felt like a change was needed. He's had some really tough seasons there, but then you look at what his teams have done lately. You know, you feel like maybe that program's a little bit more solid footing because they had some really rough years there at Prairie View. Some bad losses in
Duly
the
noted.
tournament, just not a lot of pitching. But Antoine Riggins has hung in. He stick to what he believes in, and his team is playing of late a lot better. And maybe Prairie View fans and administration feel better about the baseball program. But knowing Coach Riggins like I did in interviewing him, I kind of fell for him because it was really struggling to get his team out of the hole. So I think a little bit more solid footing for Prairie View, a lot more respectable than it has been in the previous years.
I guess maybe Varick saying a 1 year wonder. He says they were a senior laden team, and Ralph says also with Grambling State, a senior laden team. But here is the predicted order finish in the Western Division. Southern University, 98 points, 11 first place votes. Grambling State, number 2, 80 points, 3 first place votes. Prairie View A&M, number 3, 77 points, 3 first place votes. Number 4 is Texas Southern, always dangerous to me. Coach Robs, that's just me. 4, Texas Southern, 67 points. Arkansas Pine Bluff, 5th with 39 points, and Alcorn State bringing up the rear with 38 points and 2 first place votes. Now, just like Alabama A&M and Alcorn, how did they get first place votes? I that's why maybe the media should have a say so in the predicted order of finish. And I know the goal is to be objective, but come on, subjectiveness being subjective, that it puts it gathers its way in those predicted order of finish. So at the end of the day, that's why it's played on the field. The predicted order of finish could be totally off at the end of the season. That's why you can always come back and look back at it and see how far or how closely the predicted order of finish were. Did they get it smack on the head, or it was a big difference? So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
But that's the
and
predictive
just
order
and just to
finish in the
all.
Western Division.
Yeah, Carlos.
Go
I
ahead,
was just.
Charles.
I mean, you look at Alcorn, for example. I mean, you got Reginald Williams, who was hired very late in the process. He was hired in the fall, and I've talked with him a couple of times, and it was a struggle to even put a roster together. I mean, there was a point in his first month on the job where he may have had, I even had 20 players total. Didn't have a catcher. And so, he asked me, could I catch? I'm like, no, sir, I cannot catch. I have no eligibility left.
Wow.
So but this is what happens when you're hired late in the process. You have to play catch up. And I have to say, Coach Williams is very, fundamentally sound oriented. He believes in fundamentals. And so it's going to be a slow process for him for Braves baseball. But as far as the order of finish is concerned, I mean, I think a lot of people wrote Southern off for dead last year, coming off of what Coach Jackson did in a slow start. But Southern is the epitome of playing your best baseball when it matters the most, which was in the tournament. And so, Southern University came out of the woodwork to get it done. And of course, I think you have to pick them again to win it. Grambling being picked second with the veteran ball club. Coach Cooper's working with the Yankee organization. So a little bit of a change there. I'm sure they're going to go with what they have going into this season. And then Texas Southern being picked fourth. I'm sure Coach Rob doesn't like that. But, they didn't have a great year last year either. So, you just, the West is going to be something to watch. Can Southern not feel themselves and know that everybody's coming after them? I think so. But Prairie View, the year they had last year, can they build on that? I think there are probably a lot more questions on the West than the East, especially, considering Southern University, considering Alcorn with a new coach, considering TSU, you just never know. Prairie View, you never know. And then, of course, no one's talking about UAPB. You talked about Coach James. And I joke with you and Coach James about this. When I think UAPB is going to make a run for the Roses, they let me down. And then when I say the heck with UAPB, they wind up pushing for the division. So that may be one of the more unknown baseball teams in this conference, UAPB, because you never know what you're going to get out of them.
Varick says, I disagree about PV, Carlos. Southern, Grambling, and TSU. I would say Southern, Prairie View, and TSU. But again, we shall see. We shall see. Charles, we're going to take another time out. When we come back, we'll switch gears. I'm scheduled to talk with Coach Neil Weiner. He's Director of Athletics, head football coach at Dunham High School. Southern University was able to sign a student athlete from the Dunham School, and we'll have a little bit of footage to put up for you. But first and foremost, we got to get Coach Weiner in. His name is Jordan Dupree, a wide receiver. And then coming up later in the show, of course, will be Coach Van Pettaway. I simply call him the Coles Brown Show's SWAC/basketball analyst. And then new defensive coordinator for Southern University, Coach Henry Miller. But Charles, he's not a stranger, of course, to the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Previously at Prairie View as a defensive coordinator. Previously coached under Pete Richardson at Southern University. So he's back, New Orleans native. So let's take a time out. When I come back, you'll be watching more of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody.
Sorry. Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. high quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like.
Okay, hold on.
What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot.
Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
This week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown, Charles Edmond of the All-Port State Radio Network, and the first guest of today's show. He's the athletic director, head football coach at Dunham School, Coach Neil Weiner. Coach, good morning to you. Appreciate the time.
Hey, thanks, Carlos. I really
I feel honored to be on the show and to be able to talk about one of our kids, and we're excited about him attending Southern University.
Well, that student athlete is Jordan Dupree. Coach, before we get into the athletic ability, the person, the student, Jordan Dupree. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Jordan has been a young man that for 4 years has really taken a lot of pride in how hard he works, really trying to perfect his craft as a receiver. He's always had great, quickness, great agility, but he's really turned that ability into being a very dangerous wide receiver. Um, when it comes to hard work, there's really not many people that are more excited about putting in that extra time, really to be the best they can be. Jordan works extremely hard in the weight room. He's been one of the strongest kids we've had. And, you don't typically have a wide receiver being one of your leaders in the weight room, but Jordan has been that kind of athlete and been that kind of young man for the 4 years that we've gotten to coach him.
Speaking with Coach Neil Weiner, head football coach, director of athletics at Dunham School. His recruiting process, Coach. Some of the how did that process go? It was an interesting story. I would like for you to share with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So, last spring, John Simon, for the former Southern Lab Kitten, was coaching at Memphis, and he called me probably about a year ago this time, and said they wanted to offer Jordan, and so they did. So he got an early D1 offer from Memphis. Then in June, going to football camps, New Mexico and Arkansas State University, two other Division I schools, offered him scholarships. Through that process, obviously, once you start getting a couple of offers, then some of the bigger schools start to take notice, and they start those conversations with you. And, for Jordan, I think he had some larger schools that were talking to him, telling him, hey, you're on our board. We're going to keep evaluating. We've got some other offers out there. And if the opportunity comes available to offer, we will. And so because of that, Jordan, played as hard as he could his senior year. And for those that are watching right now, you can see his highlights. I mean, he did a fantastic job for us. But some of those other schools, those bigger schools that were talking to him, they didn't end up coming through with offers. And so when it was time to really kind of start looking at those smaller Division I schools that did make the offers, they had already started getting their commitments lined up for that early signing period. And so we started to get to work on trying to find schools that had wide receiver spots open. And I think what's difficult for these class of 2022 kids, and it'll be the same thing for next year for sure, is the transfer portal really has eliminated so many scholarship opportunities for great high school football players. There's part that you can't blame a college coach and a college program saying, hey, we got to win now. Coaches are getting fired after 2 and 3 years. So there's got to be a sense of urgency. So they want to find some grown men, some 20 and 21-year-olds that are ready to go right now, and they don't have to develop. So I get that. The problem is, in about 5 years, there's not going to be as many, high school kids going to college that need that development. And those guys that have relied solely on the transfer portal, they're going to be hurting because there's not going to be as many kids out there available to transfer. So we were excited when Coach Dooley called a couple of weeks back and said that they were excited about Jordan, and they wanted to know what his status was before signing date. And when they found out that he was still open for recruitment, they came through with the offer, and we're just so excited.
Coach, you talked about Jordan in the weight room, but specifically on the field, he was a slot receiver, as you saw on the footage, in the special teams. Where do you see him fitting in at Southern University? Is it definitely going to be at that slot receiver position?
I think so. I think that's what Coach Dooley had talked about when we had that conversation. Jordan in a little 5-yard box is really, really hard to handle. And so when you've got teams that are able to let those guys run those option routes where they can set up a defender and you have to bump a linebacker out to cover, he's going to be really dangerous in the slot for Southern and what they're going to do on offense. For us at the high school level, when you're a good receiver, you can play inside or outside, and so Jordan was able to be a weapon for us on the outside, just as equally, as well on the inside. But yeah, at the next level, he'll be a slot guy, and he'll be a matchup nightmare for those linebackers that have to get out there and cover in space.
Coach Weiner, you previously when we talked when we were setting up this interview, what Jordan meant to the team this year as far as helping them out. Had a big win over Southern Lab, but talk about back to his work ethic, because you mentioned some other players that you had come through the program. One is probably going to be a high pick in the NFL draft coming up, but again, that work ethic, how important is that for him and what it meant to your football team this past season?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the old saying, hard work beats talent when talent won't work hard. And when you've got the talent and the work ethic, that's what takes you to the next level. And that's what we've seen with other players that we've been very fortunate to coach at Dunham and other places as well. And that's certainly the case with Jordan. He does have talent, but he puts in the work. He's been working, been doing the 7-on-7 circuit with Ken Anyo and F3 Elite. He's been working with them for several years now, and you can see that translate onto the field when he comes back and plays within our system. In our weight room, we've got big giant boards that we've got for our award winners in the weight room. We have a little contest where we test our kids at the end of the summer. We call it the Top Tiger competition, and Jordan, as a junior, actually won the competition. His score is one of the top 5 highest scores that we've had since we've been at Dunham doing that. And, that includes Mike Williams, who played at Dunham for us and then signed with Texas and, was a great player here in the area with the South Baton Rouge Rams and youth football, and then was at Redemptress, and then Redemptress closed down. He came over to Dunham and, was a fantastic athlete. And then obviously Derek Stingley, it's an exciting time for him as, the draft is coming up, and he's a lock to be a first-round draft pick. And Derek had incredible scores, and Jordan's numbers are right up there with those guys. And so that's really a credit to just how hard he works, because those guys are bigger than Jordan. Jordan's not small, but those guys were just bigger built guys, and that's how hard Jordan has worked in the weight room, that he can put up similar numbers as those guys.
Coach, your football program has done very well. As we often talk about, football is an all-year program. How about going to this fall season 2022? High expectations for the Dunham School?
Yeah, we expect a lot from ourselves. We're not concerned about what other people put on us, but we're going to push ourselves to beat what we did yesterday today, and we're going to keep getting better every opportunity we get. And so we had a fun season this year. Obviously, only one team gets to win their last game of the season. That was St. Charles Catholic in our division, and we had a hard-fought game with them in the quarterfinals, and they went on to beat Lafayette Christian in the state championship game. This year we did play really well and had a great high school football game with Southern Lab. They're extremely well coached and very talented, and it was an overtime game. Jordan actually made a huge catch on a 4th and 13 while we were down, and caught it in traffic. The corner was trailing him. The safety came up to put a hit on him, and quarterback made a great throw, but Jordan made the tough catch in traffic and allowed us to score on the very next play. And that was a huge, huge win for our program and for him. And so, this year we'll open up with Parkview Baptist, which is a bigger school, but we've been playing them the last couple of years, and that's been some good contests. We'll play 5A Live Oak, and then we'll also have Ascension Catholic, who's got a very talented team, and same district or same division as Southern Lab, and then we'll play Southern Lab again. It was such a well played game. both teams very disciplined. Just good sportsmanship. It was just a great high school football game, and so Coach Asbury wanted to continue that moving forward. So we'll play them as well, and then we're looking forward to what we do in the playoffs. We keep knocking on the door. We've lost to the state champion the last I think the last 4 years. So that makes it tough when you're losing to the team that wins it. I guess it makes you feel a little better, but we're ready to start winning those games in that semifinal round and get back to the state championship.
Right at the door, just have to kick it in, and maybe this year will be the year. Well, Coach Weiner, I appreciate the time. Look forward to talking with you again. And then Jordan Dupree now signs with Southern University. So we're looking forward to seeing him on the Bluff. And he's already had a great time at A.W. Mumford Stadium with that game with Southern Lab. So glad to have him with the Jaguar Nation. Coach, go ahead.
I was just going to say we're excited about some of the changes that Southern is making. Bringing Coach Dooley back, just such a class act. We've gotten to know him really well over the last 25 years of coaching. And then Coach Sean Wallace. Sean was an assistant on our staff here at Dunham for 4 seasons, and such a huge blessing, not just to me, but to our kids, and what a great influence and what a great ambassador for Southern now. I know he was a wild man on the field in the 90s for Southern, and he's still a wild man on the sideline. But man, what a great dad, what a great husband, and what a great ambassador for Southern football. So we're excited to watch the Jags.
Yeah. Well, I called him Coach the Bad Boy, but he matured and outstanding guy. And I tell you what, you will, one word, passion. So can't wait. Yep. Look forward to seeing him on the sideline. Coach, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk again real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Coach Neil Weiner, head football coach at the Dunham School. Jordan Dupree. He signed with Southern University, and hey, Charles, it was interesting. He talked about the transfer portal. Everyone has talked about it, and it's something he said in 5 years, because you have to win and win now. I understand that, because Charles Edmonds will be one of the main ones who will be ready to fire somebody if they don't win. But I know I'm just joking. But Charles, I think you just have to have balance on that. It's still high school, JUCO, in the transfer portal. And as Coach Dooley said last week, you kind of got to mix and match. I wouldn't put all of everything in the transfer portal, but we look at one school this past year, Alabama A&M. How many players did they sign from the transfer portal? So, hey, with that many, goodness, you got to win quickly.
Yeah, you do. And with the amount of pressure that's on these coaches now, and I get it, these coaches are making more money now than they ever have. And so with the amount of money being paid out, the more pressure. And that's to be expected. That's why there's so much pressure on Nick Saban every year. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Brian Kelly making $10 million a year at LSU. There is no 2-year window. He's got to get it done right now. And if you trickle it down to the SWAC, look at how many SWAC coaches are making $300,000 plus a year. Who would have thought that 10 years ago? So there is pressure all across the board in football at all levels, from high school, JUCO, Division II, Division III, FBS, FCS. There's pressure because of the amount of money these coaches are making. So I get it. The portal is keeping a lot of these good senior high school kids from going to that next level, because these coaches want to get these kids from the transfer portal. And these coaches are saying, and they're not even hiding it, I'm saving some of my scholarships for kids in the portal. And these coaches are pretty much saying that But I do think over a period of years, I don't think it's going to happen today or tomorrow. I think over a period of years, it's going to flip back because I think the NCAA is going to slow this train down just a little bit. Nick Saban said in a recent article, and you sent it to me, I think there's going to be some dead periods in which you can't transfer and all. I think that's all going to come to a head at some point in time, more so sooner than later.
Well, yeah, and just talking to some people, they could go for that, have a certain period where you'll be able to transfer us. Other people I talked to said, well, if a student athlete's not happy, and he's not playing, why should he have to stay? So with the NCAA, it's going to be a lot of as far as the enforcement issues. You're also seeing some conversation now about NIL and the enforcement of that. So, Charles, again, if you are doing what you're supposed to do, dot the I's, cross the T's, and you always do the right thing, you should be okay. Because the NCAA, like with the APR, who did they come after first? The schools that didn't have the resources like others, fair or unfair. So it'll be interesting to see how everything pans out. Southern University women defeated Alabama A&M 65-58 last Saturday, and then they lost to Alabama State 61-58, and that's a tough loss because you've got to win out at home. You can't really afford too many losses at home. But 61-58, they were outscored in the third quarter by 16-9, and then they were outscored by 20-16 in the fourth quarter. So to me, an unexpected loss. But then if you look at Coach Frida Jackson and the history between Southern and Alabama State, they've always been tough games. But didn't see that one coming. Kind of disappointed. But on the women's side, they at home they went 1-1, Charles, and that's tough. That's tough.
It is when you're near the top of the league and other teams are kind of nipping at your heels. You've got to take care of business at home, and there we have seen in the early part of the season where you had over a 2-week period 12 road teams win in the conference first couple of weeks of the season. I kind of kept up with that first couple of weeks, and yet this is tough. I mean, this just shows you, Carlos, how tough this conference is, where if you don't bring your A game, especially at home, and there's a tendency to let up at home. Landon Bussey's talked about it, how you're a little more relaxed at home. On the road, it's a little bit different. You have more control over your itinerary and your players, but at home, you can slip. And when you have a race as tight as this, on the women's side especially, with Jackson State playing as well as they're playing, and they're getting tested a little bit though. And so can they keep it? Can they keep that going? Trying to remain undefeated in conference play. They're being challenged just a little bit, which is what you would expect because human nature says you can take your foot off the gas a little bit. And I'm not saying Jackson State's doing that, but Southern, that's a loss that they can't afford to have if they want to even sniff a regular season championship. They can't afford to lose games at home.
Well, let's just be honest. On the women's side, it's basically number one is settled to me. Unless they just fall completely off the track, it's Jackson State. On the rest of the conference race, there's a battle for 2, 3, and 4. And so, to your point, Southern University cannot afford to lose at home like that. And it's always tough on the road as far as winning in this conference. So if you've got to take care of business at home, and then try to split on the road. On the men's side, quickly, Southern University a 9-point victory over Alabama A&M 73-64, and this Southern men's basketball team consistency basically is what I've seen from the Jaguars basketball team. Of course, they had a hiccup on the road against Alcorn and then Grambling State, but other than that, been very, very consistent. And then Monday night, a 14-point victory, 72-58 over Alabama State. With that win, 14-9 overall, 8-2 in the conference. Terrell Williams led the way, junior, with 17 points. So once again, consistency. When it's all said and done, I think Southern men's basketball team, you're looking at being winning the regular season is very in the grasp. But hey, they got to go in that Texas two-step this weekend, Saturday and Monday. But first, second, that's where I see Southern men's basketball team finishing.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a big win by Southern University's men over Bama State, because I think Bama State pulled off one of the bigger upsets in the conference by beating Grambling, who was one of the hottest teams in the conference. That was probably Mo Williams' biggest win in conference that he's had since he's been there. That was a shocker to say the least. You know, Grambling came to Alcorn and beat the Braves, and then they go home, and then they wind up stumbling. So that was a huge loss by Grambling. You know, clearly right now, I mean, look, with the schedule being different, you know, we're used to seeing these games in which you're seeing each other twice. Some of these teams, you're only playing them one time. You only got one shot at the apple. You only got one bite at it. And so now you're going to be doing a little scoreboard watching. If you've lost to that team and they're right there with you near the top, you only play them one time. If you lose, then you lose out on the tiebreaker. So now you're going to do some scoreboard watching. There's 7 games left. Still a lot can happen. You got to take care of your own business. But, you know, those teams at the top, I mean, I look at Alcorn's schedule. We got a little bit more easier schedule in terms of the teams that we have left. You got Valley near the bottom. You got Pine Bluff near the bottom. But that Texas trip's going to be tough for us. And then you have one of the hottest teams in the league in FAMU coming in on Monday. So things are going to change, I think, you know, if you want to stay near the top of the conference.
Yeah, and for Southern, they got Prairie View, Texas Southern. Then next Saturday, Grambling. And then, of course, they've got FAMU and Bethune-Cookman coming in. And then they end it with the Alabama swing. Boy, usually it's the Texas two-step every other year, start in the beginning, then at the end. So you can't take a night off. You can't take an afternoon off. And this race will go down to the last week, and we'll see how it happens. Charles, I know you have to run, but appreciate the time. As always, we'll talk again next week. Continue to be safe.
Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
All right. We're going to take a time out. I'm going to visit. We're going to talk some more Southwestern Athletic Conference basketball from the basketball analyst, Coach Van Pettaway. He comes up next. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food?
Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp,
tofu, and rasta pasta?
Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock
in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m.
Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
From now.
Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network, joined now by the Coles Brown Show's basketball analyst, Coach Van Pettaway. Coach, good afternoon to you.
Hey, good afternoon, Carlos. I'm happy to be here. As a coach, you got to have a game plan. Then you better have one in case that doesn't work. So I'm on game plan B right now. Internet was not working in the house, but it's working in the truck.
It's about making adjustments, huh? And sometimes you can't wait to halftime, Coach.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Glad to have you, Coach. This Southwestern Athletic Conference race, it's winding down somewhat on the women's side. Just want to kind of get your take on the race as it is. We have a clear, I guess, number one team, but position 2, 3, and 4, and 5, you get my drift. They're positioning
right
for seeding purposes. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. Well, I think you got about 7 teams that are going to be fighting for number 2. I don't think anybody's going to catch Jackson State. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. They've got a great team. They're well coached. I just don't see anybody catching them. I don't see Jackson unless the virus raises his ugly head and takes out a few of their better players. I don't see anybody catching them. But there's a dogfight for those other positions, and I think it's going to make for a great ending because every game is going to count, and you got to be on your game every time you step on the floor. So I think the other teams that they have an opportunity and they should take advantage of it because everybody should be fighting to get that number 2 seed so you can get away from Jackson State. You don't have to see them until the championship game. And in a championship game, anything can happen.
Case in point, Southern University lost at home to Alabama State, 61-58, and we've talked about it already, Coach. Those are the type of games that at home you can't afford to slip up at home.
Right, and that that was on the women's side. You had the same thing that happened on the men's side, but you gotta protect your home court if you want to have an opportunity to number one have a successful season, have an opportunity to win a championship. You got to protect home. You got to take care of home first. So you cannot afford to slip up because it's too treacherous out on the road in this way.
I would agree. We're visiting with Coach Van Pettaway here on the Coles Brown Show. So Jackson State, Coach, 11-0 in the conference. Southern 8-3, Grambling State 7-4, 7-4 Alabama State, Pine Bluff 6-5, Prairie View A&M 6-5, Texas Southern 6-5. You get my drift.
And Alabama A&M 6-5. See, all of them bunched up right there together, and one bad weekend, and you can go from second down to an eighth. So you have to be careful. Yep. Now that's pressure. You want some pressure? That's pressure on the women right now. On the women's side, they got to be ready to ball every weekend from here on out.
Coach, would it be fair to say there's pressure on those teams that are clumped together? But man, would I be off base if I said maybe Southern University is going to probably feel the pressure more so, and maybe it's because of that loss to Alabama State at home, or I'm way off base?
No, you're not off base. In fact, this is what's happening. They are the hunted because they got that second seed. They got the crown. They got the carrot that the other teams want. Everybody wants that number 2 seed. I'm not saying that they've conceded the race to Jackson State, but with only about 7 or 8 games left and the lead that they have, I just don't see them collapsing at this point. So to me, the big race is to go after that second seed. And right now, Southern holds that with a 1-game lead. And that's going to be tough for them to hold on to, especially with the fact that they lost at home. So you've already given up one of your home games. So now you got to go, you got to turn around. And what Coach Funches has to do now, he got to go get one on the road. He got to take a game on the road that when he first looked at that schedule, he put a question mark by it. Well, now that needs to become an exclamation point. That's got to be an emphasized game on the road that he's got to take back to make up for that loss that he had at home.
And today, this weekend, Saturday, Monday, they're in the difficult Texas 2-step. Now they've had success. I think against Prairie View. Since Coach Pugh has been at Prairie View, I want to say Southern women has only lost one time. But you can't take that for granted. Going to Prairie View, I'm sure she's going to have her team ready and fired up. And then Monday, Texas Southern, which they defeated once, but it wasn't an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. And then Grambling State, who at the FG Clark Activity Center. So, yeah, if they could get a split or win 2 on the road, that would help Southern women's basketball team considerably.
Well, I think now he's got to have a sweep. You got to make up for that loss at home. Mm-hmm. So this is a very crucial weekend, and when you look at it, he's coming off a loss, and then Prairie View has won 2 in a row. So that Texas Southern game is very vital. He's got to win them both.
And we switch to the men's side. Hey, it's tight there. Southern,
and
of course.
I think the surprise to me, Carlos, was Grambling losing at home. Grambling losing to Bama State. I going into the weekend, I did not pick Grambling losing at home. And to be honest, they beat Alabama A&M, but they didn't play well. That was a very low-scoring game, and Grambling just didn't play well. So Grambling might be in trouble. They got to regroup. They got to regroup going down the stretch because they were a team that I had picked to finish toward the top, but they're not playing well right now.
And boy, that loss, they would be tied with Southern right now if they wouldn't have lost that last home game. Southern 9-2 on a 3-game winning streak. Texas Southern, now you look, they're pretty hot on a 5-game winning streak. Right. They're 8-3 in conference. FAMU 8-3. Grambling State 8-3. Alcorn 8-3, and then Alabama 5-6. Jackson State 4-7. But if you look at it, 9-2 Southern, in a game behind Texas Southern, FAMU, Grambling, and Alcorn.
Wow. Right, and see that makes for a great race going down the stretch on the men's side also, and really everybody still has a chance to win the championship because at 8-3 you're only 1 game out, and if you still got Southern on your schedule, you got a chance of improving yourself. So every night here on out on the men's side, 1 through 5, they got to be ready to play. They have to be ready to play.
Coach, let me ask you
And
about
this is going to be a crucial weekend for Southern because they're playing the 2 Texas schools. You know, they're the leader, and they're playing the second ranked team. And then, of course, Prairie View, you never know what's going to happen out there in the Baby Dome. So they got to be ready to play. That's going to be 2 tough games for them. They need them both in order to get some separation.
Now, what if they split? We always say they split. Now, I understand what you're saying. They need 2, but what happens if they split? How damaging is it?
You'll take the split. You'll take the split. But to separate yourself, if you want to be a true champion, he needs to take them both. And I know Coach Woods knows that. I think he's gonna have his kids ready to play, and I look forward to everybody having a good weekend. You just gotta be ready to play. See, there's no time left for mistakes. There's no time left for mistakes, and these teams have to be ready to play. He's got to start out today with Prairie View. They got to jump out on Prairie View early so that Prairie View won't have any thoughts of an upset. They got to go get Prairie View, and then you save some energy so you'll be ready for Texas Southern on Monday.
Well,
so you got to use
Texas
your bench.
Right, I understand. Speaking of Texas Southern, Grambling State and Texas Southern, 3:30 p.m. on NBA TV. I enjoyed last week's ball game. I believe FAMU and Texas Southern and NBA TV. Just the quality of it. Santoria Black and Tolly Carr was on the call. FAMU's MJ Randolph currently leads the league in scoring in conference play, 19.7 points a game. Tell me about him, Coach Pettaway, MJ Randolph. I've seen him a couple of times. Your thoughts on him?
I like his game. He can get it done. He can score on all 3 levels. He's a very exciting player, and I agree with you. Last week was, I think, a great weekend for the SWAC. I think Santori and them did an outstanding job on the broadcast, bringing it home to us. And it was a good basketball game. It made the SWAC look good, and I look forward to another great contest this afternoon. But Randolph can play. He can get it done. He can get it done. And you see why he's leading the conference, because he can hurt you in so many different ways. And when he came to Alabama A&M, he didn't have a great shooting night, but he went to the free throw line. He made up his points from the free throw line because he was fouled a lot in that basketball game. So if you foul him, he's gonna get his points. If you play off of him, he will drill it. If you get up on him, he can go by you. So he can get it done in all 3 phases of the game on the offensive end.
Scoring 19.7. Coach, the game of the week, in your opinion, I mean, they're all important. They're all important. On the women's side, even if you want to pick Saturday, or if the game you pick is Monday, you can say that as well.
Okay, on the women's side, let's see here. I think it's going to be crucial for those teams that are chasing Jackson State to be close. I really like the Grambling and Texas Southern game on the women. I think that's going to be a big game. If Texas Southern wants to be in the running, they got to come out and play. Southern and Prairie View would be another good matchup today. So out of the 2, I'll take that Southern Prairie View game. I think Coach Funches needs to make a statement by winning at Prairie View today, and that'll be my game on the women's side.
Now, on the men's side.
On the men's side, I think the Grambling Texas Southern to me would be the best matchup. Those are 2 teams that have a lot to play for this afternoon. They're on television. It's a great recruiting tool. That will be the big matchup for me today.
And the way it could potentially fall, you could have a log jam at first,
Yep. That's what I'm
and then you
saying.
could
That
still
that
and you still could have for time for second. You still could have a few teams in second place. Yeah, Grambling State, Texas
it,
Southern, Southern Prairie View. Yeah,
it's been a while on the men's side since you've seen a log jam this late in the year. And that's good for the conference. It's good for the teams because every game matters. So everybody has to have. You got to be ready to play. You got to be ready to execute.
you're absolutely right. And the schedule for today, women and men: Bethune-Cookman at Alcorn State, Grambling State at Texas Southern, Mississippi Valley State at Alabama A&M, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Alabama State, and Southern at Prairie View. Then Monday night, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Alabama A&M, FAMU at Alcorn State. That's going to be a good one. Bethune-Cookman at Jackson State, Grambling State at Prairie View, Southern at Texas Southern, and Mississippi Valley State at Alabama State. So, Coach, after Monday, Tuesday morning, the story will
Yep.
be we will know how it has changed as far as the standings.
Right. I think the picture will be a little bit clearer comes Tuesday morning. So this is a very crucial weekend, Saturday and Monday. You got to be ready to play. You got to stay away from injuries, and you got to have consistency.
Coach, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. It's still basketball, but I got to get your thoughts on this. The NBA trade line. The deadline just passed. And Simmons is not at Philadelphia anymore. He's at the Nets. James Harden is at the Philadelphia 76ers. My team, the Heat, still in first place, although Milwaukee is maybe a game and a half separating the top four teams in the East. The Lakers are struggling. Coach, Phoenix is still the best, and Golden State. What a wild day in the NBA this past Thursday.
I think on trade deadline day, I think the two teams themselves was Philadelphia and the Nets. I think the trade is going to help both teams, but I think it gives Philadelphia a leg up. I think the addition of Harden with Embiid, now you got a guy on the perimeter that can't be stopped and one in the paint that can't be, that is one in the paint, that cannot be stopped. And I think that just gives them more balance. They've got better balance now. And with Ben Simmons going over to the Nets, on the games that Kyrie and Durant are playing, they're going to get more shots because he's not looking to shoot. So the shots that Harden was taking, they're now going to be distributed between Durant and Kyrie, and he will make the other players around him better because those guys know all they got to do is get open and Simmons will find them. And then all he has to do is take his game to the low post. If he takes his game to the low post, he can still facilitate. He can still find his cutters. He can do all the things that he needs to do to help make Philadelphia a good team.
Interesting.
And then out west, I think the Lakers hurt themselves by not making moves. That team is too old. They've already shown that during the course of the year. I don't expect them to go anywhere. But right now, I think Phoenix is playing well out west, and that will be the team that I think is going to come out of the West. I think Phoenix has a lock on it. In the East, I think your Heat, Milwaukee, and now Philadelphia, between those three, it's going to be a tough road. It's going to be tough down the stretch.
Yeah, and one of the things that I guess I can be proud of with the Miami Heat, they had injuries, and with Bam, with Jimmy Butler, Hero had been injured a little bit, but you didn't see a big drop off, and they stayed together, and they still winning. And hey, it's going to be tough, but in the East, it's just a war. Really. And go ahead, Coach.
Carlos, I think the thing that has helped Miami all year long, they've had several people to make contributions. They didn't rely on one or two people. See, it's been a team concept. So when one of them is not, so it's an injury is just like a guy having an off night. Because if you're spreading the basketball around, if you're spreading the wealth around, then when you lose somebody, let's say that guy's in foul trouble, the team is used to it. They're used to other guys making contributions every night. So when one is not having a good night, that means that there's more opportunities for somebody else, and they've been taking advantage of that. And I think that's one of the reasons why they've been so successful. And it all starts on the defensive end, where I think they put a lot of energy and a lot of effort into the defensive side of the ball, and that's why Miami, in my opinion, has been successful.
And of course, their coach, he doesn't get a lot of credit. Coach Spoelstra, he just gets it done. And Jimmy Butler was a great fit. When they talk about the Heat culture,
right,
in shape, it's a team concept. Yeah, tough. There you go, Coach. Toughness. So, it'll be interesting to see how all of this winds down. But I still say Milwaukee. Hey, they're the defending champions until someone defeats them. But I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on the trade deadline and some of the moves that were made. Coach, any closing comments on the Southwestern Athletic Conference or basketball in general?
Right. I think so far it's been a great season. I think we're seeing some great atmospheres. I like the fact that the crowds are coming back in most places. Some of the places still haven't picked up, but I'm looking forward to the race coming down the stretch. This is a big weekend for a lot of teams, and everybody has to be at their best.
Yeah. Well, you can't afford to slip up. And so it makes for an exciting race. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Continue to be safe and be blessed.
All right. Thank you, Carlos. Everybody be blessed and be safe. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Coach. We're going to take a quick timeout. Got to talk with Coach Henry Miller next, help him get on the broadcast. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like.
Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot.
Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey,
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food?
Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp,
tofu, and rasta pasta?
Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock.
In downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m.
Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock.
In downtown Atlanta.
For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992.
Or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com.
For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant.
Authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin.
Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody.
Sorry. Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburn.com, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We're going to have to reschedule Coach Henry Miller, defensive coordinator at Southern University. Had an issue, but we'll get it straight. So with that being said, the final segment here on Coles Brown Show, I'm kind of look at some of what you guys are talking about here on the show. Good afternoon to Varick Williams, Keith Martin, Darren Gaines, also Edwin Dwight Moore. And I kind of want to read his comments, and it was referring to, we were talking about the Southern Heritage Classic, and Jackson State, of course, and Tennessee State have come to an agreement to play at least one last time this year. And I mentioned, maybe Alcorn State or someone like that maybe can play Tennessee State. And Edwin says this: there is no intimate rivalry with Alcorn and Tennessee State as it is with JSU, a given. Their football history is heavily interwoven. John Merritt, Bob Hill, W.C. Gardner. Any other matchup is just a game. No need to call another game the Southern Heritage Classic. Well, sometimes you have to make new tradition. And I understand with Jackson State and Tennessee State, the legacy, the history between the two. But at this point now, you can name it something else, or you can put somebody in, but why not? How about developing a new rivalry. I mentioned Alcorn State, but you guys, you may have someone else that you think would be a better fit. Southern University, maybe, playing Tennessee State. In Memphis, Alcorn State. Some have mentioned maybe University of Arkansas Pine Bluff playing Tennessee State. And geographically, they're pretty close. We've also talked about SWAC baseball and the predicted order of finish. And of course, in the Eastern Division, Jackson State is picked to represent the East. In the West, Southern University. Had a lot of conversation from you guys about SWAC baseball. And once again, predict auto finish. It gathers conversation. Some of you know more about baseball than others, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be played on the field. It's going to be determined on the field. I also talked with Coach Neil Weiner, head football coach, director of athletics at the Dunham School here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Jordan Dupree, a wide receiver, signed with Southern University, and we put up his highlights, and maybe we can put it up again if you're just tuning in from his huddle. But Coach Weiner had an interesting point, and he was talking about the transfer portal and how, and he believes in 5 years, those schools that are heavily dependent on those student athletes from the transfer portal, when they're gone, then you still have to develop the high school student athletes, and as they matriculate through the program. And so that's why it is my humble opinion that the transfer portal is a quick fix, and you can piece together some players, particularly like if you need help, say in the secondary or the linebacker core, you can go in the transfer portal, and then when you select someone or you're interested in signing them, you've got to do your due diligence and find out everything about the person, not just as the athlete, but as the person. And then that person has to fit into your program. There's also the junior college ranks, and you've seen Alcorn State go to the JUCO ranks. Southern University went into the JUCO ranks. But still, the foundation, the best way to build a program is still, in my humble opinion, from the high school ranks, from a freshman to a senior. And then that player, no matter what sport, has gotten better. He's gotten the coaching. He's been coached up. He's been put in a position to help walk across that stage and get his degree. And look, I get it. I really get it that the pressure to win now is immediate. You lose 2 years in a row, or you have a disappointing season, the director of athletics and the powers that be could come in and say, look, hey, it's not going in the direction it needs to go. We definitely want to change the direction of the program. And if you're looking at in the conference, you have some coaches that's been there for a few years now. Southern University, having Coach Dooley on, bringing him on. He's coached in the conference, so he knows about the conference. He coached at Southern University under Coach Pete Richardson. So he basically hit the ground running. We talked Southwestern Athletic Conference basketball, and we looked at both on the women's and the men's side with Coach Van Pettaway. On the men's side, it's really tight. Southern University with a 1-game lead in the conference, 9-2 overall. This is on the men's side. Texas Southern 8-3, FAMU 8-3, Grambling State 8-3, and Alcorn State 8-3. And some big games. Southern and Grambling, they are in Texas for the Texas two-step on the men's side. After Monday night, late Monday night, We'll see if there's any major changes in the conference race. On the women's side is Jackson State, basically. They are a solid number one. It's now going to come down to positioning on the women's side. Southern University dropped a 61-58 decision to Alabama State. That's a loss at home. Now they've got to make it up on the road. They're capable of doing it. They start today with Prairie View A&M and then Texas Southern Monday. We've talked about it. It's difficult to win on the road. So they've got to get in there. And if they can win both games on the road, that would be great. But if they don't, if they get a split, and we talked about it, that's what you want on the road, a split. But can they win both games on the road? It's going to be tough. And then next Saturday, arch rival with Grambling State University, who defeated Southern University's women's basketball team. Matter of fact, the men lost as well. And then they'll have FAMU Bethune-Cookman coming to the F.D. Clark Activity Center. And then Southern will end both on the women's and men's side the race, the conference schedule at the Alabama school. So what do you think? Who's going to get it done? Jackson State, number one seed on the women's side. Can Southern men's basketball team hold on? They've been very consistent. Can they hold on and win the regular season championship? And over the years, I used to always debate with Charles Edmonds and others about the regular season and how important that was. And as far as the tournament, that's the automatic bid. But I still think it says a lot if you can stand the test of time during the regular season and win it. And then you're playing for seeding position in the tournament. So often has been the case, a regular season champion has in most cases did very well in the tournament championship. Some cases they didn't get it done. And so it's a one bid league, unfortunately, right now, until the conference as a whole gets better. As far as the scheduling a non-conference and playing those mid-majors. And we've talked about that till we're sick, sick about, scheduling non-conference games as far as basketball. Who do you schedule? Do you schedule smart versus the money games, the guarantee games? And you see a lot of those games are played because it brings finances into the athletic department. Some schools put that money directly back into the basketball program. Some, they put it in the general fund. And when I had Coach Banks on, the director of athletics at Southern University, maybe about a month ago, I brought that up to him, and he stated right now that's what they would like to do, not having to have to schedule all those money games. But right now, as far as the athletic department, they've got to do that. They've got to schedule more money games or guarantee games. But the goal is to not have to schedule those many games. We talked about the SWAC baseball order prediction, and some of you are saying, oh, Carlos, the regular season champ, gets an automatic NIT bid. So regular season is very important. Yeah, it is, NIT. But the ultimate goal, I know, is to get to the NCAA tournament because financially, it's a no-brainer. It really is a no-brainer. But you still can schedule, and the conference as a whole has to get better as far as their RPI rankings. And so one day, and I don't laugh, one day it could be possible. It could be possible, like in baseball, to put yourself in a position that you can be considered for an at-large bid. But to do that, you're not going to be able to schedule, the NAIA schools, the Division II, and all of us, when I say all of us in the conference, they have done that. Let me go into the chat room. Terrence Graves said, add Southern University and Grambling on a rotating basis. Now, that would mean, I'm thinking he's talking about the Southern Heritage Classic. Because, of course, Jackson State, after this year, they're not going to participate in the Southern Heritage Classic. Grambling State and Southern. What do you think about that one? I guess Coach Banks would consider that in the future. I mentioned Alcorn State. Everyone says there's no historical ties to Alcorn State and Tennessee State, but I say make new traditions. I mean, you probably could rotate 2 or 3 teams in the Southern Heritage Classic, but I guess ideally, if they want to continue it like it was with Jackson State and Tennessee State, maybe they will decide to say, hey, we'll just go with one team. But on a rotating basis, I could go for that. I could really go for that. Good afternoon to everyone who is watching. Brandell Jackson, Ralph Holly, the second, Varick Williams, Chuck Hunt from, I believe, Monroe, Louisiana. And watching the show, we appreciate it. G. Boom Holly, Michael Cavalier, good afternoon. Willow Brown was watching. Avis Heath. I like to pick on Avis Heath, the Jackson State alum and supporter. We've had many interesting conversations between Southern and Jackson State in the ball game and football mostly. And don't forget, Southern goes to Jackson State October 29th in Veterans Memorial Stadium. And then the next 2 years, which it will be a non-conference games, but it'll count in the overall standing, Southern and Jackson State playing in Birmingham Legion Field. Now, when I was at the SWAC Football Media Day last summer, I got a chance to look at, Alabama Birmingham's new stadium. It was just about ready, maybe 99%, 98%. I was told it seats about 40,000. That's a nice capacity size for even if, say, you eventually move the SWAC Football Championship to Birmingham. What do you think? Is a 40,000 seat stadium more conducive to the crowd, or do you stick with Legion Field? That I guess seats about 65,000. What do you think? But Alabama Birmingham Stadium, it was pretty nice. And then, what do you think about the SWAC baseball race? Southern University, back-to-back tournament champions. Wow, when you look at Jackson State, and you kind of feel for them, yes, I said that, because you know how I feel about the competitive edge when my school, Southern, plays Jackson State in any sport. But Jackson State just was very dominant in the regular season. Then in the tournament, Southern University defeats them. And Jackson State, as great of a regular season that they had, their season ended right there. And I know some of the NAIA schools that they played on their schedule, and I think that's why you kind of have to kind of get away from that. And I hadn't looked at everybody's schedule, but I will do so. But as far as Southern University, and that's coming up next weekend, Andrew Dawson baseball club. LSU's there, Southern, Towson State. So the schedule, and then Southern plays in Mississippi State, and they're going to be playing Houston. So they've put together a very attractive schedule. And then in state schools, McNeese, Nicholls State. Previous years they played University of Louisiana Lafayette. So we've often talked about it. Baseball as a sport has an opportunity to really do well outside the conference. So once again, it depends on, as a conference, your non-conference games. Who do you play? And in the geographical area, I think there are quality teams that you can play that, quote unquote, in baseball, they're good to have on your schedule. I'll put it that way. Want to thank all of our guests on today's show. Charles Edmonds, Coach Neil Weiner, Coach Van Pettaway. We're going to reschedule Coach Henry Miller, the defensive coordinator at Southern University. We'll hopefully get him on next week. We got to work out some issues there. I want to thank everybody who watched. Appreciate you. Don't forget, if you feel like you want to donate, or if you would like to donate to Carlos Brown Show, you can see the Cash App there. Carlos Brown Show on Cash App. Want to thank Roy Evans producing today's show. And we're going to say that's it for today's show. Make sure you tune in every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Until next time, as always, peace and God bless.